Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and it's time for more Scuttlebutt. This week's game to keep you entertained in the background, brought to you by Premium Tier VII German cruiser, München. This is about my fourth or fifth game in this ship. I have really favorable matchmaking, right? München is a ship that she reminds me a little bit of Atlanta in the sense that when she is only up tiered one tier or playing as top tier, she's really good, right? You can get a lot of great work out of this ship and these guns, especially with this trolley detection radius. Her struggles really start when she is bottom tier, and of course, if you believe the matchmaking rules, that's going to happen about 40% of the time or so. So, it's a bit dicey. One of the things you're going to see me do over the course of this match is, by about the midway mark, I'm not going to have an amazing damage total. But I'm going to get into some close engagements with some battleships, particularly a Colorado. And I'm going to use this 6-inch-ish, almost 6-inch German AP into his casemate armor at pretty short range to just soak up damage, rack up the damage totals, and it's the same tactic you employ when you play Königsberg down at Tier 5, Nuremberg at Tier 6, or even potentially mines at Tier 8, because they all use this 150mm shell that the German light cruisers use. That's just quick firing and really good at that sort of thing. So yeah, this is a bit of a showcase for this ship. Like, she gets to do some fun things with her hydro. I get to hunt destroyers. I get to slap around battleships. I even get my torpedoes off and get them to some use at a time or two. So, this is a ship that if you enjoy Königsberg and Nuremberg, you'll probably like this ship, but be advised, she does get worse matchmaking, so you got to keep that in mind. Anyway, enjoy. What's going on in Shooty Boats? Well, regular shout out for the NA Forum contest. Definitely go check that out. Hapafotter does his normal weekly thing about giving away free stuff over there. Usually all you got to do is play a game meet some requirement or other. Go post a screenshot on the forums and you'll win a camo and usually a chance at a premium ship or some premium time or something like that. It keeps the forum's interest level up nice and high, and they love doing that, giving out free stuff, and it works great. So check that out. King of the Sea. King of the Sea begins this weekend round the globe. On every region, King of the Sea begins on Sunday, the 13th of September. So if you are here on NA like I am and you are interested in watching some of the action on NA, drop by my Twitch channel starting 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific on Sunday, the 13th. And we'll be bringing you all of the group stage action in day one. Myself and my good buddy Lord Zath. This will be Zath and I will now have worked 7 consecutive King of the Seas, King of the Seas, whatever. 7 of these tournaments together. This will be the start of number 7. So yeah, and then that's going to run for the next 2 weekends. So day 1 will be on the 13th. Day 2 and 3 is going to be the weekend of the 19th and 20th. Day 4 and 5 will then be the 26th and 27th, with day 5 being the regional finals here on NA over on the main World of Warships channel, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, guys, come on by, come watch the event. Even if you don't play, if competitive warships doesn't interest you in the least, we try to make it entertaining. And trust me, guys, if you want entertaining games, the group stage is the day, right? There, you'll see stuff in the group stage, and I'm sorry, this is the Swiss stage. You'll see stuff in the Swiss stage that you won't see the rest of the event. Crazy plays, ship choices. It's always a good time. Definitely come by and check it out. Okay. PTS is opening for the next patch. This is 9.9. This weekend, starting, I guess technically it's probably already up, given that this is going up on Friday, but the public test is open for 9.9. This will be the pre-release event for the American Battleship Split. I mean, I'm not super excited about these ships, but man, more ships is more ships, right? There are some things in this patch that I am excited about. I mean, the battleships are not really one of them. For me, the big thing, of course, is the changes that are coming to the replay system, I believe. Should be in this patch. I'm super stoked for that. The replay system these last couple of patches, guys, you don't know. If you're not recording games into replay, trying to turn them into videos or whatever, you probably don't know the hell that all of the CCs and various content creators, whether they're an official contributor or not, are working under. The replay system has just been horrid for the last couple of patches. So any changes, any improvement is good improvement. The big change next patch, I think that's the gameplay changes that I'm really looking forward to, is this zero damage pen thing going away. That's a huge buff for battleships, and it's long overdue. Zero damage penetrations have just been a plague on this game forever, and I can't wait for them to die. Die! Go away. I never want to see anymore. So that'll be good when that finally rolls around. Anyway, PTS starting this weekend. Chance to earn some rewards over there. If you want to go check that out, if you've got the PTS game client installed on your hard drive. What else is going on? Devblog. So right after, of course, literally the day after my last Scuttlebutt, they posted a huge drop regarding upcoming changes to the commander skills system. This is something that I've been speculating for, gosh, probably if you go back in various Scuttlebutts, more than a year, that was going to have to happen, right? And I think you saw them start to kind of come to this realization last summer 2019, when they were trying to improve the AA system, and their hands were honestly tied by the way the current commander skill system is designed and laid out. One of the things that's happening, there's a lot of things to unpack in this change, and I'll post the dev blog down below if you haven't seen it already. But the single biggest thing to know is that basically every captain will now have access to a separate skill tree depending on which ship type, ship class they are driving. This is brilliant, and it's also something else that I was speculating was going to happen because submarines were coming, right? So many of the current skills in the game are just pure garbage for submarines. So revamping the skill system now allows them to add a completely separate skill tree for submarines when they finally come into the game, and then they can keep it separate and test all the skills separate or whatever. And then of course now you'll have separate skill trees for carriers, which has been a big thing, right? Because the skill selection for carriers is so terrible. There's so few options that most carrier builds all end up looking alike just because there's so few options. If you have skill points, you invest them in the same place for almost everybody. There are some small variations, small tweaks. Yes, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but the reality is the existing carrier system, the skill point system just for carriers alone, needed a rework. So I'm glad to see this coming. There's a lot to really like in here. There's a lot of people kind of fixated on the value of some of these skills. Oh, this skill is garbage. Oh, this skill is bad. It's early days, right? They haven't even, I mean, I assume they've done some internal testing. These have not even gone to any kind of live testing yet, and I suspect they're going to have to go through some version of it. I don't know how they're going to manage this technically, but that's not my problem to solve. But I suspect that they're going to have to go through at least 1 or 2 rounds of testing on PTS with this to kind of figure out how some of these skills work and whether they're not, whether they're worth it or not, and so on. There's some really questionable, there's some fun concepts in here. Like there's some brawler skills. One that leaps to my mind. There's a brawler skill in the cruiser tree that looks really interesting until you read the description of it, and you're like, wait a minute, the description doesn't match. What the description of the skill is doesn't match what it says the skill does. So what does the skill actually do? Should it match the description or what you're telling me the bonuses are? I don't know, right? So there's probably some translation quirks and everything in here, but this is exciting. I'm super, super glad to see this coming. I cannot wait. This is something we desperately need. Not long after, they also announced a new change that's coming for a forthcoming carrier line, presumably Russian carriers. They don't say that in this post, but given the YouTube video that they link to later, you can kind of infer it. Excuse me, but what they're really talking about here, they're talking about skip bombs, okay? If you've seen, there's an old great black and white movie where the British did this called the Dam Busters, right? Where they trained British bomb crews to drop basically what amounted to spherical bombs at certain speeds and elevations, and then they would use just like a baseball, the bomb would have a rotation to it. And they were trying to use this rotation to literally bounce these bombs into a dam. Okay, to destroy the dam, take out the hydroelectric power and everything that the Germans were using to power their industry. Apparently, and I didn't know this, but apparently the Russians tested this concept on like surface ship targets, which is a little mind-blowing. I'm not sure quite exactly how that works, but apparently some variant of this concept is being tested internally or whatnot, and it may come to the game. We don't know. This is all testing right now. So they've tested concepts before that have not made it to live, not even to PTS. So don't be shocked if you never hear about this again. But the fact that we're hearing an announcement means they've at least got a concept that they want to run through and see how it goes. And then the big announcement was literally just yesterday. People for years have asked about these hybrid Japanese ships, particularly heavy cruiser Tone and battleship Issei. they are finally going to bring versions of these ships to the game for testing. Tone at Tier 8, which is where she was in the client many, many moons ago, and then Issei coming in at Tier 6, which again makes sense because if memory serves, Issei was a Fuso-class battleship that was converted to like the back half of the ship. They took off the two stern turrets and converted the back half of the ship to a flight deck. The hybrid playstyle to me is something, you know, they've avoided this for a long time. And in the old RTS system, I think it made a lot more sense. But now that the way the carrier planes work, the way that plane attacks work in World of Warships now, I think there's some interesting design space that can be explored, and I'm curious to see where they're going to take this. Imagine, if you will, you play an Atago. Just let's start with an Atago as your baseline, because Tone and Atago, in terms of, you know, gun layout and design and sort of thing, they're not that far apart. So imagine if you had an Atago that could launch a plane squadron. Okay, a single plane squadron now, bomber, rocket, torpedo, whatever, a single plane squadron, and use it, let's say, in the opening 3 minutes of a match. And technically, you can use it at any time, but the reality is that, you know, a surface ship in World of Warships, the way the game is currently designed, is more effective than a carrier at just about everything except spotting. Okay. The trick is that in the early game, this takes time for the surface ships to move up into position. So this is where the idea of Tone's scout planes, or you know, that single squadron that she can run around and spot the enemy team and look and maybe get in some cheap early damage or something like that, is really appealing, because the ship, you know, Japanese heavy cruisers typically have gun range around, what, 15, 16 kilometers. It's going to be 3 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes before you can really engage on a lot of these high-tier games. But you can use your planes, right? You can use your planes, you can fly around, you can spot, you can maybe get a torpedo running on a cruiser, who knows, right? And then as the engagement develops, your planes are shot up, you need to take time to regen your squadron. Now you drive your hull around, you pew ships, maybe launch some torpedoes, and then as the game wears on, maybe you've taken some damage, you're low on health, and it's like, ooh, wow, you know, I need to back off. But while I'm backed away, I can put my planes up again and still be useful. The idea of the concept here is really fascinating to me, and opens up some interesting gameplay ideas that we don't currently have. I would love to see. I'm fascinated to see how this test works out, because I feel like it's definitely worth trying. It might not work, who knows, right? But I feel like there's definitely design space in the game here that hasn't been explored. Certainly ship classes that haven't been explored that are worth trying. And if it works out, fine. If it doesn't, life goes on, right? Tony's model has been in the game client for like 5 years, so there's no reason they can't go back and dredge that thing up and start working with it again. I'm looking forward to seeing how these come to the game. It's going to be good stuff. What else is going on? Yeah, I'm kind of looking through the various news sources. Nothing's leaping out to me here. I mainly just kind of wanted to make sure everybody knew about King of the Sea. Just because that's a big thing for me around here. That's what got me into streaming. That's the reason I'm a community contributor, right? Competitive warships is what got me into all of this in some form or other. So yeah, definitely come on by the channel, check it out, and see what happens. The event is fun, even if whatever team you're rooting for doesn't win. We try to put on a good enough show to make it interesting and fun to watch, right? Like, that's the whole goal of the exercise. It should be entertaining. So, all right, guys. Well, that'll do it today. A nice, short, brief video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is München, of course. I died here at the end, obviously, but the team managed to clutch it out, and we did win this game. And I had a nice little showing in this ship. So, anyways, you guys have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Wash your hands, and I'll catch you next time.